Test, test. For today's match, let's meet the starting lineups. First, we visiting Gators. Goalkeeper from Pennsylvania, number 0, Gabe Anthony.
He'll show up.
A senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, number 2, Zach Ioli. A junior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, number 7, Henry Rosenberg. A sophomore from Silver Spring, Maryland, number 9, Cliff Weaver. A sophomore from Bowling Green, Ohio, number 11, Cam Kaminsky. A sophomore from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, number 14, Brady Napoleon. A senior from Mars, Pennsylvania, number 15, Shane Lasman. A junior from Cheswick, Pennsylvania, number 20, Matt Tell.
I'm waiting for it to fly over. I'm waiting for
A
it.
sophomore from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, number 21, Zane Ingram. A senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, number 24, Anthony Milligrade. And a junior from Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, number 32, William Lothar. Leading the Gators is head coach John Lachina, assisted by Max Fowler. And now let's meet your Bison. The goalkeeper from Dallas, Texas, number 1, Addis Sahovic. A sophomore from Buenos Aires, Argentina, number 2, Gregorio Lopez Avala. A sophomore from Buenos Aires, Argentina, number 4, Valentin Ursino. A sophomore from Buenos Aires, Argentina, number 10, Fausto Ginchetti. A junior from Mendoza, Argentina, number 16, Lucas Puebla. A freshman from Buenos, Argentina, number 26, Ignacio Cavaretta. A freshman from Sierra Leone, Africa, number 30, Sylvanas Fode. A junior from St. John's, Antigua, number 38, Jaziba James. A freshman from Salta, Argentina, number 43, Noel Vivas. A junior from St. John's, Antigua, number 66, Jazino Ogara. And a junior from All Saints Village, Antigua, number 82, Rokiba Cordice. Leading the Bison is head coach Frankie Tall, assisted by Christopher Corridon, Michael Sorella, and Tomas Navarra.
We welcome you to Hogue Field this afternoon for the opening round of PAC play in the 2022 men's soccer season between the visiting Allegheny Gators and your Bethany Bison. Drew Von Sayo here on the PAC Digital Network. Allegheny enters today with a record of 1-4 overall through 5 non-conference games so far this season, coming off of a 2-0 loss to Case Western on Saturday. First-year interim head coach John Lachina looks to lead the Gators to their first PAC win since 1984, the last time Allegheny was a part of the conference. As for Bethany, they enter with an overall record of 4-2-1, coming off of a 2-1 defeat to then-ranked number 18 Carnegie Mellon Saturday night. Fourth-year head coach Frankie Tall looks to get the green and white off to a good start in conference play and defend the title as conference champions. Between the pipes for the Gators this afternoon, junior Gabe Anthony from Tarentum, Pennsylvania. In 5 games so far this season, Anthony posting a .587 save percentage and a 4.06 goals against average. As for the Bison, it's Addis Salahovic, a junior from Dallas, Texas, the Bosnian native, possessing a .778 save percentage and a 120 goals against average so far this season. Our referee crew here this afternoon, Eric Blackburn in the center. On the far side, closest to the benches, Skylar Jackson. Matt Scott here on the near side, closest to the spectators. An opportunity for the Bison to keep things rolling as they have gotten the season off to a much better start than they did a year ago. As for Allegheny, an opportunity to start to fix some of the wrongdoings from the early portion of the season in which the visiting Gators will have the opening kickoff. Down here on the historic Hogue Field, same one that hosted the 1994 round of 16 NCAA tournament match between the Bison and UC San Diego as the Gators get this contest underway. Flicked on there by Weaver, and then the Gators ultimately end up running out of room on the near side here. In the first 15 seconds already hearing both goalkeepers Salahovic and Anthony uttering out instructions. So for the Bison, pretty much the same squad they sent out there against Carnegie Mellon. Two changes being Noel Vivas and Sylvanas Fode getting to start here this afternoon. The back line all four the same as Sylvanas Fode wins a free kick on the far side for the Bison in the midfield third. The Bison with a very deep squad, approximately 50 players. Coach Tall getting the opportunity to make things interesting with the center back combinations, has 4 to 5 center backs that he can turn to at any moment. Chance here for the Bison to get an early strike on goal as Jaziba James sends the ball in. It's flicked on by Ursino. Nacho Cafarata trying to get a touch on it, but not before Gabe Anthony claims that one inside his penalty area. Jaziba James winning the header there, getting in front of Shane Lissman, senior out of Mars, Pennsylvania. Fausto Gianchetti, one of many members of the Bison squad from Argentina, trying to play that one forward to Fode, but carrying out a play in front of the Gators bench. Just under 2 minutes gone in the first half. Been a lot of Bison possession in the early goings. Kaminsky laying that ball back, and now Cliff Weaver getting some touches. Lopez Agawa trying to clear that one away. Danger early on. Cliff Weaver fires a shot. Salahovic making the save. Second chance effort still loose. And then ultimately skied over the crossbar and out for a goal kick. Cam Kaminsky getting the last touch for the Gators. And what could have spelled disaster early for the Bison. Ultimately get bailed out of jail. Maybe a little bit of a wake-up call for Bethany. Fode working alongside Taliani of the Gators, junior out of Cheswick, Pennsylvania. Strong body in there from Rakiba Cordice. Antigua, the other prominent nationality on the Bison men's soccer team. Salahovic plays it safe and sends that one out of play. Throw-in being taken by Ioli. Now Cliff Weaver able to sneak between a pair of Bison, still in possession. Strong challenge from Lopez Agawa. Able to keep it in play on the near side. Just as it was set to cross the end line, Lopez Agawa launches it forward. Lissman, the one wearing the captain's armband for the Gators this afternoon, as Fode wins another free kick for the Bison. Jaziba James calling off Gianchetti. James shot from distance, blocked, and now Allegheny quickly looking to counter, but Cordice able to strip Kaminsky of possession. Gianchetti once again service in towards the penalty area, trying to find the head of Lucas Puebla, but carrying too far out for a goal kick. Of course, the Bison have had most of the possession through the first 4.5 minutes, but it's been Allegheny with the most dangerous chance to this point. Cordice using his size there against Kaminsky. And now Lucas Puebla in possession for the Bison, driving inside the penalty area, trying to cut it back. Puebla firing towards goal. Slight deflection off the post, but not before Anthony got a touch, and it's out for a Bethany corner kick. Lucas Puebla, the only member of the Bison to have scored more than one goal so far this season. Puebla coming in with 2. Of course, the Bison have had a large number of goal scorers, so depth certainly working out in their favor. Corner kick whipped in off the head of Cafarata over the crossbar and out for a goal kick. Again, Bethany utilizing its size. Cordice in terms of a goal kick a few moments ago. Now Cafarata on the free kick, corner kick rather. Lucas Puebla, an honorable mention for PAC Offensive Player of the Week. His second goal of the season was just Saturday evening when the Bison lost to Carnegie Mellon. At the time, they were ranked 18 in the country, now just inside the top 10 at number 8. Jazino Ogaro trying to get around Ioli. Ioli able to gather in possession, and now the press from the Bison in full effect, deflecting off of Puebla and out for a goal kick. Salahovic continuing to order instructions to his teammates. James winning the header, back in possession after combining with Fode. Trying to dance his way around Lothert, ultimately forcing a pass inside, and now Cordice conceding a foul in the midfield third. And the Gators quickly taking the free kick. Cliff Weaver in on goal, driving into the penalty area. Salahovic pouncing on the loose ball, and Weaver can't believe he didn't tuck it in. Now we ultimately get the whistle from referee Eric Blackburn that Weaver's goal wouldn't have counted because he was offside. And again, a huge break there for the Bison. Allegheny has had 2 early chances, one in which skied over the bar, and then that one that was offside. Noel Vivas now guilty of a foul. And then getting a second quick whistle there from Blackburn for kicking the ball away. Kaminsky going up for the header with Lopez Ogawa. Now Weaver once again. Ioli's pass a bit too far beyond the reach of Weaver. Of course, Allegheny still trying to get adjusted to the grass. Lucas Puebla playing it forward to Fode. Sent to the near sideline by Taliani. Just trying to play that one away from danger. Throw from Lopez Agawa into the feet of Puebla, known for his ability to hold up the ball. Quality in which Coach Tall very much appreciates in his squad. A little bit of skill here from Jazino Agaro before switching the ball over to Jaziba James. Cafarata finding the feet of Cordice. Through ball onto the far side for Gianchetti. The Bison continue to work the ball around, and now the pass there from James intercepted by Kaminsky. Quick counter here for Allegheny. Kaminsky firing towards goal, and it's just wide of the post and out for a goal kick. And again, Allegheny with a very dangerous opportunity, playing on the counterattack. It was actually Brady Napoleon who had won the ball in the midfield for the Gators, sophomore out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and a product of Mount Lebanon High School. Rosenberg getting the head to it, but carrying out of play on the far side for a Bison throw. Allegheny continuing to rack up chances. Fode dealing with some contact from Lothert, but out for a Gators throw. You can tell that Gators were well prepared for the Bison wanting to keep possession. Ogaro driving inside, now into the penalty area, laying it for Vivas. Solid contact there, but as the Bison bench pleads for a free kick or possibly a penalty kick, Eric Blackburn ignores the screams and allows play to continue. Allegheny again with a throw on the far side, finding the feet of Rosenberg. Allegheny unable to keep it in play, just about 10.5 minutes into the first half. Shouts of handball from the Gators. Corey then mentioned that the Bison are looking for a much better start in terms of conference play this season. They lost their first 3 conference games a year ago. Lucas Puebla gets called for a foul on the far side. Losing their first 3 conference games last year, backs against the wall, and Bethany proceeded to win 5 of the last 6 to earn the 5th seed in the PAC men's soccer tournament. And then for the green and white, the rest is history, as they went on to win their 31st conference title in program history, and the first under head coach Frankie Tall. Puebla trying to play that one forward to Fode. Getting a touch on it there was Mellograin. The Gators quickly looking to counter. Weaver trying to get around Lopez Agawa, slotting one back towards the penalty area, and it's cleared away by Cafarada. And now Savanas Fode using his speed to split a pair of Gators. Puebla driving into the penalty area, taking it out to the half space, working against Taliani, and Taliani strips him of possession. But not before Lopez Agawa steps in front of the feed from Taliani. Vivas quickly switching the play, finding Fausto Gianchetti. Slotting it back to Jaziba James. James driving in centrally, shot from distance, blocked by the Gators. Ogaro able to gather the loose ball, crossing it towards the back post. Anthony losing his footing inside his 6-yard box and out for a goal kick. Continue to get instructions from both benches, trying to break the early deadlock. Strong goal kick there from Anthony. Brought down by Ingram. Sylvanas Fode flicking it on to Lucas Puebla. Puebla trying to cut it back, still in possession. Left-footed effort. Blocked inside the penalty area. And now Lucas Puebla drawing some contact. Referee Eric Blackburn stops play. Points to the spot. Rather, blowing the whistle to award Puebla a yellow card for simulation. Something that typically don't see every day. Puebla thought for sure he was fouled. Tries to plead his case with Eric Blackburn. Break there for the Gators. Cafarada sends the free kick right back where it came from. Sylvanas Fode utilizing his speed once again, trying to dance around Lothert. Ultimately gets a touch. Vivas playing it forward to Gianchetti, onside on the far side. Gianchetti slotting it towards the penalty area, kicked away by Anthony. Agaro playing it back to Vivas. And now Cordice, the Bison, stringing consecutive passes together. Valentin Orsino under-hitting the pass there. Cliff Weaver quickly looking to counterattack, but takes slightly too large of a touch, and it's enough for Orsino to slide down and send that one into the bleachers. Napoleon, plenty of space to receive the throw-in, now finding the feet of Zane Ingram. Weaver trying to feed it through the legs of Lopez Ogawa with Iole on the overlap. And now Ogaro wins a foul, much to the disbelief of Weaver, sophomore out of Silver Spring, Maryland. He thought it was just the physical element of the game of soccer. Eric Blackburn seeing otherwise. Orsino choosing to go long with the free kick off the head of Iole. Napoleon finding Cliff Weaver once again. Kaminsky now in possession, dealing with contact from Cordice and Orsino. Vivas getting a touch, trying to find Puebla. Carries out a play on the near side. Puebla quickly trying to take the throw, thinking it was with the Bison, but ends up flipping the script for the Gators. Vivas trying to find Gianchetti. Cordice in possession on the second chance effort. Ogaro has been all over the midfield third. Sending it right back to the near side to Lopez Ogawa. Tries to cross it in on the ground. Cordice now back to Ogaro. Iole getting ahead on the aerial through ball there from Ogaro. Plenty of space for Iole to drive forward. Through ball to Kaminsky, and Kaminsky flagged for offside. Here on the near side, very much in disbelief, but offside call there about as obvious as it can get. Kaminsky with a goal on 8 shots so far this season. Puebla brings down free kick, slotting it forward to Fode, just beyond his reach into the hands of Anthony, who has had his moments of needing to be busy, along with Adis Salahovic down at the opposite end. It has been Salahovic who has had the much more dangerous chances to deal with. Iole getting around Gianchetti. Lopez Ogawa going in strong. Able to cleanly win the ball. Plenty of space for Lopez Ogawa to drive forward. Fode finding Vivas. Able to switch the play brilliantly to find Jaziba James. Pass there just beyond the reach of Ogaro. Ultimately sent out of play by Ingram. Throw in from James Rosenberg. Bringing it down. Plenty of space now for the Gators to drive forward. Nacho Cafferata getting in front of Kaminsky. Kaminsky able to keep Cafferata away from it slightly as it carried over the touchline. Rosenberg again now slotting it back. Shot on the ground, calmly collected by Salahovic off the right foot of Brady Napoleon. Rather routine save for the junior goalkeeper. Spent some time in the FC Dallas MLS Academy. .26.5 minutes to go here in the first half. Still no score. PAC opening round of men's soccer. And Kaminsky going in for a hard challenge there against Jaziba James. Members of the Gators trying to appeal that it was James who was guilty of the foul, but the eyes of Eric Blackburn say otherwise. Salahovic quickly getting play restarted, trying to play the ball in centrally as Lissman got a touch. Both sides still trying to get some footing here on Hogue Field. Of course, the natural grass much more prone to missteps as opposed to artificial turf, as the Gators go all the way back to Anthony before he ultimately clears it long. Gianchetti and Ogaro switching sides inside the four-man Bison midfield. Too many touches there from Lopez Ogawa. And Valentin Orsino comes to his defense. As Cliff Weaver had his eyes for goal and went in on a strong challenge. And the Bison are struggling to connect the long passes here on Hogue Field. Rosenberg playing it forward. Weaver slotting it back towards the penalty area. James sending it far away. Ioli, the first one to it. Trying to get around Orsino. And Orsino winning a throw after a late deflection off of Zach Ioli, product of Upper St. Clair High School in Pittsburgh. Coach Tall getting 3 substitutes to start getting loose and be ready to check into the game. Through ball forward there from Vivas. Ogaro on the receiving end, driving inside. Ogaro firing towards goal, tailing too far away from the post, out for a goal kick as Ogaro dealt with a strong challenge and ultimately could not get it inside the post. Zane Ingram checks out of the game. So it ends up being Allegheny who makes the first sub. 21 minutes into the first half. Checking in for Ingram was Gunnar Britell, the junior out of Steubenville, Ohio. Allegheny winning the free kick right at midfield. Dangerous opportunity for the Gators. The service into the penalty area. Orsino getting the first touch on it. Ogaro able to find Fode. The Bison look to set up possession once again. Not before Ioli gets a touch on the pass, trying to find Gianchetti. Puebla in possession now. Shot from distance, well over the bar and into the shrubbery behind the goal for a goal kick. The Bison still looking for a shot on target. Salahovic continuing to provide instructions as far as the defensive shape of the Bison. Kaminsky on the far side working against Ogaro. The last touch there off of Britell. Out for a Bison throw. Perfect weather conditions down here at Hogue Field. Warm and sunny on middle of September afternoon. Cordice plays a through ball forward to Fode, getting a touch, drives inside, appeals for contact. As Fode hit the grass, but continue to play on. As Eric Blackburn didn't agree with the shouts from the Bison. Ogaro slotting it back to Gianchetti. And now Vivas through ball forward, trying to find Ogaro, but well out of his reach. Anthony off of his line, but with the Bison not pressuring, just opting to keep the ball on the floor before ultimately launching it forward. Cafferata gets ahead on it. Strong challenge in there from Cafferata, trying to play the ball against Cam Kaminsky. Cafferata guilty of a foul. Thought he had won the ball cleanly. And now debate as to where the ball is ultimately going to be placed. Gators, of course, trying to gain as much leverage as possible. With 20:52 remaining in the first half, Eric Blackburn stopping the clock to allow the Gators, to force the Gators rather, to move the ball back. Service in towards the penalty area. Fode getting ahead to it. Lopez Ogawa sending it forward. Ioli running out of options, dealing with the pressure of Fode. Just plays it safe. James finding Vivas. And now Allegheny quickly looking to counter as Listman plays it forward in the direction of Weaver. Orsino getting there a step ahead. And now Orsino and Weaver get tangled up. And Weaver again cannot believe that Orsino won the free kick. So Weaver trying to plead the case of the hand of Orsino being in his face, but it was Weaver who was wrapping up both arms around Orsino. Cliff Weaver thinking he's playing the other football. Ogaro still in possession, ultimately losing his balance. Gianchetti combining with Lopez Ogawa. Ogaro switching the field of play to Puebla, trying to keep it inside the end line, does so down in the corner. And Puebla draws some contact. No foul, says Eric Blackburn. Game that has been rather physical. Cafferata finding the feet of Fode. Vivas now to Gianchetti. Second chance effort there from Gianchetti. Unable to find a white jersey. Gianchetti utilizing his strength there against Napoleon. Lopez Ogawa's cross taking a deflection off of Weaver. And then Allegheny running out of room as Ingram ultimately ran out of room. Rather, that was Mellograin who sent the ball out of play on the near side. Throw into the feet of Puebla, trying to go back to Gianchetti, and now Napoleon quickly tries to play the through ball forward, deflecting off of the Bison, out for an Allegheny throw. Weaver, the leading goal scorer for the Gators, getting his name in as an honorable mention for Offensive Player of the Week in the PAC. Had a pair of goals in Wednesday's win over La Roche. It was his first career multi-goal game as a member of the Gators. We'll keep a Cordice winning. Free kick there for the Bison. Kiba Cordice still dealing with some pain, but ultimately being told to move backwards by Eric Blackburn. Service in towards the penalty area. Mellograin got ahead to it. Allegheny quickly looking to counter, finding the feet of Kaminsky. James sending that one away. Anthony well out of his penalty area, sending that one near midfield out for a Bison throw. Of course, Anthony was an honorable mention for Defensive Player or Goalkeeper of the Week. Made 7 saves in the 2-0 loss against Case Western. Of course, the Bison and the Gators having one commonality so far this season, losing to Case Western by a pair of goals. Bison were defeated 3-1. Allegheny defeated 2-0. Rosenberg deflects it out of play for a Bethany throw. Mentioned in the pregame show, Allegheny back in the PAC for the first time since 1984, one of the inaugural members of the conference when it was created. Has spent every year since 1985 in the NCAC, despite oftentimes playing PAC schools in the non-conference portion of the season, so still having some ties to the President's Athletic Conference despite not being an official member prior to the start of this academic year. Lopez Ogawa switching the field of play to find Cafferata. James combining with Cordice. The Bison still pretty much utilizing possession, something that Coach Tall very much wants his squad to do. Puebla driving inside. Lothert trying to clear it away out for a throw, but Lothert ultimately ran out of room. And it carries out for a Bison corner kick. Bethany has made a sub of their own in Pablo Aguilera. Aguilera making his way into the Bison midfield for Noel Vivas. Gianchetti sending the corner kick in, deflecting potentially off of Fode. The Bison able to win a corner. Fode got up for it along with a pair of Gators. And the last came off of a member of the defending side. 14 minutes remaining in the first half, still scoreless in the opening round of PAC play. Now it's Ogaro sending in the corner kick off the head of Orsino. Allegheny quickly clearing that one away. Kaminsky going one-on-one with James. And James strongly getting there despite drawing some contact. Now James dealing with some severe pain as a result of the challenge there with Kaminsky. Salahovic getting the attention of Eric Blackburn to stop the clock and allow James to get an extra second. Appears to have possibly just got his foot stepped on. Certainly not a pain that anybody wants to feel, but for James, certainly something that he would rather deal with than anything worse. Lothert tries to play a through ball forward. James in possession once again before opting to drop it back to his goalkeeper, Salahovic. Allegheny still trying to figure out ways in which they can connect passes against the Bethany press. Lopez Ogawa driving into the attacking third, trying to get around Ioli before feeding it inside to Ogaro. Ogaro still in possession. Left-footed strike fired toward goal. Gabe Anthony quickly making the save there, eliminating any chance of a rebound. 12 and a half to go in the first half. Shot on target for the Bison. Rather routine save for Anthony, but an important one nonetheless as it keeps the deadlock going. And now Kaminsky flagged on the far side for a foul against James. Bison going to take their time sending it forward off the foot of Nacho Cafarata. Little pinball going on here between the two. Heading it back and forth. Now Aguilera bringing it down. Finding the feet of Lopez Ogawa. Weaver deflecting the service. Gabe Anthony trying to claim a high foot of Aguilera. We play on. Ogaro taking some contact, a little bit slow to get up. Ioli now finding Weaver, goes back inside to Napoleon, and now Ogaro, guilty of the infringement, now shown a yellow card. Ogaro trying to plead his case as if to say, what about the one 30 seconds ago? Ogaro, the second member of the Bison to get their name in the book of Eric Blackburn, the first being Lucas Puebla for simulation. Flicked on there by Kaminsky. Salahovic quickly off his line to smother that chance from Brattel. Gators winning it right back, but not before Gianchetti strips Listman of possession. Gianchetti has been a stalwart in the Bison midfield. Of course, Bethany's midfield down one major element in Sebastian Arrocane, currently out injured, hoping to make his return as soon as possible. Puebla, right-footed effort, blocked by Mellograin. And now Kaminsky trying to keep it in play, but cannot. Now, a pair of substitutes for the Gators. One for the Bison. For Bethany, it'll be Deshaun Thomas. Checking in for Gianchetti. Cliff Weaver exits for the Gators, replacing him, Darius Googe. The Gators also utilizing another substitution as ball whipped in there towards the back post. Ends up on the roof of the netting and out for a goal kick. Zach Ioli, the other member of the Gators to check out. Replacing him is Graham Kralik, sophomore out of Beaver Falls. Fode able to gain possession against Taliani. Pinball bouncing around there before Napoleon brings it down. Bison drawing contact inside the penalty area as the ball carries out of play for a goal kick. Just over 8 minutes to play in the first half. Goal kick forward from Anthony as Cordice gets around Kaminsky. Ball launched forward by Mellograin, avoiding any sort of danger for the Gators. Salahovic out of his penalty area on the near side. Plenty of time to launch it forward, trying to find Puebla. Mellograin getting a touch. Cordice getting around Kaminsky. Brilliant switch there as James tries to keep it in play with the acrobatics. Ultimately deflecting out for an Allegheny throw on the far side. Bertel with the throw in. Service towards the back post, trying to find Guj. Lopez Agawa getting a touch on it. Now Kralik opting to try and work it around his back line, possibly force the Bison out of position. Of course, that's one thing Coach Tall works heavily on, is maintaining defensive shape. Cafferata, long ball forward. Puebla working against Taliani. Taliani, the first one to it. Sends it towards the Gators bench. James got a touch trying to keep it in play, but ultimately the last one before it carries over the far touchline. Deshaun Thomas out of Virginia Beach, working in there against Kaminsky. And now Cordice able to strip Bertel of possession. Plenty of space for Cordice now, dealing with some pressure from behind, courtesy of Henry Rosenberg. And now Cordice shown the yellow card. Swinging of the arm there when dealing with the challenge. It was Taliani who took the arm to the face there from Cordice. So now it's 3 members of the Bison who have gone into the book. Bertel checking out of the game for the Gators. Andrea Bocha in for Allegheny in place of Bertel. Nathan Greaves in for the Bison, native of Granada, in place of Lucas Puebla. Gabe Anthony under immense pressure there from both Greaves and Fode, having to just send that one forward. Bocha out of Laria, Italy. Bison with 2 Italians of their own. Matteo Pintus on the bench. Goalkeeper out of Cagliari, Italy, along with Valeria Martino. Jazino Ogaro in possession, crossed towards the penalty area. Greaves trying to get a touch on it, sent back in by Thomas, and deflecting out of play for a Bison corner. Just over 5 minutes to go in the first half. It'll be Aguilera set to take the corner kick. Chance for the Bison to strike first. Anthony getting a touch there on the flick on by Greaves. And now the Gators quickly looking to counterattack, but Valentin Orsino sliding in there to make the challenge. Orsino in some pain. Through ball forward there, trying to find the feet of Guj. Salahovic off his line, sending it out of play into the Gators bench. And now the clock stopping for Orsino. Still down on the ground. Orsino up under his own power. Still in some discomfort, but appearing to continuing on. The Gators bring on yet another sub. Ty Raymond, senior out of Washington, D.C. Coach Lachina continuing to make a lot of subs for the Gators. The Bison have made a few of their own, but certainly outnumbered in terms of substitutions made. Deshaun Thomas can't keep it in on the far side. The Bison bench trying to plead their case. Unsuccessful in that regard. Rosenberg weaving himself between a pair of Bison. Bethany looks to string some passes together. Aguilera, his pass off the mark there towards Lopez Agawa. Kraylook looking for an option on the throw for getting it back off the foot of Napoleon. His service cleared away by the Bison. And miscommunication between Lopez Agawa and Agaro. Brilliant little skill there from Jazina Agaro, slotting it through the legs of Lissman. James driving forward, able to win yet another Bison corner, as it was Cordice who ultimately held back for Jazipa James as he drove forward into the attacking third. Ty Raymond trying to hide himself on the far side, standing right at midfield, ultimately causing Jazipa James to drop back in a more defensive position. Taliani getting ahead on the corner kick. Raymond connecting 1-2 there. Greaves tracking back defensively, trying to stand strong against Rosenberg. Still in possession. Now Greaves getting a touch on it, but able to kick it out off of Rosenberg for a goal kick. Just under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Neither side wanting to concede a late goal here in the first half, and Salahovic sharing that same sentiment as he urges his squad forward for the long goal kick, despite some verbal resistance from his teammates. Rosenberg trying to drive inside, looking for a free kick trying to be won against Deshaun Thomas, but Gabe Anthony collects and distributes rather quickly as Allegheny has plenty of space to drive forward. Kralik still plenty of time now dealing with some pressure from Fode as Gooch tries to turn around Lopez Agawa and carries out for a Bison throw. Now under a minute to play in the first half. Lopez Agawa quickly finding the feet of Thomas. Deflects it off of Gooch. Out for a Bethany throw right at midfield. Lopez Agawa going right back to Thomas, trying to play it forward. Anthony off his line. And now distributing quickly. Slight touch there from James. Rosenberg trying to gain possession, but sliding challenge from James sends it out for a throw. It's under 20 seconds to play in the first half. Rosenberg able to find Bocha. Once again on the throw. Bocha trying to go right back to Rosenberg. James just going to see it out for a Bison throw, but The horn sounds as we've played 45 minutes of scoreless soccer here at Hogue Field. And despite many opportunities at both ends, neither the Bison nor the Gators able to break the deadlock. We'll step aside here on the PAC Digital Network, and when we return, coverage of the second half of the opening round of PAC men's soccer right here from Hogue Field. back for the second half of PAC men's soccer between the visiting Allegheny Gators and your Bethany Bison here on the PAC Digital Network. We are scoreless at break, taking a look at some halftime stats. The Bison, a large advantage in terms of total shots, 15-4. A slight advantage in terms of shots on goal, 5-3. Both goalkeepers have saved everything that has came their way. Gabe Anthony with 5 saves, Ada Salahovic with 3. The Bison, 5 corners compared to 0 for the Gators. Allegheny with the greater number of fouls committed, 8-6, but 3 of the 6 Bison fouls have got themselves in the book for a yellow card. A few changes at halftime for the Bison. Salvador Isler into the game along with Arnold Fontes Candida. Greaves continuing to play after coming on in the first half. Ogaro launching it long directly off of the kickoff. Fontes Candida fresh off the bench, native of Senegal. Isler stripped of possession, and now Allegheny quickly looking to go the opposite way, but Ogaro quickly getting there in plenty of time. Bethany once again utilizing their possession style of game. Taliani heading that one away. Lissman going in strong against Ursino. Ogaro getting over to cut him off as it carries to the outside. Cliff Weaver slotting it back in centrally. Still in possession are the Gators. And now Gianchetti finally able to lay it off to Jaziba James. Tries to get around Ioli after maneuvering himself beyond Rosenberg. And now Taliani clears that one out of play for a Bison throw. Throw into the feet of Cordice from James. A little bit of skill there from Cordice, able to flick it into the feet of Greaves. Now Greaves in possession again. Switching the play to the far side to find Lopez Ogawa. Ogawa now into the attacking third, trying to work his way inside, winning a corner. Make it number 6 of the afternoon for the green and white, as it was Lothard who got the last touch for the visiting Gators. Gianchetti to deliver. Ball whipped in off the head of Cafferata. Cordice able to keep it in play as it spun towards the back post. Second chance service for Cordice over the head of Greaves. Flicked away by Cliff Weaver. Cafferata keeping it in the attacking third. Gianchetti looking to deliver. Finding Cafferata. Now Gianchetti ultimately flagged for a handball on the far side. Will deflate any sort of momentum the Bison had going for them there. Anthony sending the free kick long. Ogaro dealing with some pressure in the back from Ingram, but much like we've seen a lot today, Eric Blackburn allowing play to continue. Cliff Weaver trying to fire towards goal, but blocked by a pair of Bison. Greaves trying to get around Lothart. Of course, in the first half, we saw Lothart at right back, Ioli at left back, and now the two of them have flipped for the start of the second half. Through ball from Ingram beyond the reach there of Kaminsky into the hands of Salahovic, and now Valentin Ursino down here early, just under 3.5 minutes into the second half. Ursino dealt with an injury in the first half, was able to walk off on his own power, continue to play the game. Appears that he will be heading off now, at least for a split second. Now the question arises for the Bison whether or not to sub Orsino, keep him on. They will, in fact, be making a change. It'll be Santi Bruni checking in for Orsino. One Argentinian in for another. Salahovic gets play resumed. Fontes Candida flicking it on to Greaves, getting it right back. Arnold Fontes Candida, one of the goal scorers so far this season for the Bison, guilty of a foul on the far side against Lothert. The Gators now trying to gain some possession. Zagaro gets a foot in there, winning the ball, but then guilty of a foul. So yet another free kick for Allegheny, now in the midfield third. Eric Blackburn forcing the Gators to move the ball further out wide than which they were trying to take the restart. But James winning the header there after Taliani sent the ball in. Rather, that was Mellograin, who's in possession once again, trying to find Aioli, but over his head. And out for a Bethany throw. James overthrowing Fontes Candida, but getting it right back. Now laying it off for Cordice. Both sides still searching for the goal to break the deadlock. Lopez Agawa sending in a cross. Mellograin getting ahead to it. Lothert trying to keep it in play. Cannot, but out for a throw rather than a corner. So a little bit of a consolation prize there for the Gators as Greaves takes a left-footed effort well wide. Jaziba James trying to keep it in play and cannot. Deep inside the defensive third of the Gators. And now Aioli looking for an option, getting it to Rosenberg. And now Aioli dealing with some pressure, getting around Fontes Candida. Just sends it out for a Bison throw. Aioli wanting to do everything he could to prevent conceding another corner kick 6 minutes into the second half. James able to find Cordice, who ends up going all the way back to Bruni. And now Lopez Agawa finding Greaves. Lopez Agawa driving forward. Too big of a touch and then out for a goal kick. Lopez Agawa frustrated with himself, but the Bison bench approving and applauding his efforts. Of course, it has been a tough stretch of games over the last four for the Bison. Just the one win of the last four coming on September 11th, 2-0 decision over Oberlin. Of course, their losses were against top sides in Case Western and Carnegie Mellon, but Bison certainly wanting to pick up some momentum once again. Of course, the tough non-conference schedule given to them intentionally by Coach Tall, as he felt they were underprepared for the opening round of the NCAA tournament against a top side in John Carroll. Of course, the Bison will have one more non-conference game here at home Saturday afternoon against Mount Union, and then it's PAC play from then on out. Both sides continue to head the ball back and forth. Now Ogaro driving forward in possession. Brilliant through ball for Jaziba James, trying to keep it in play. Ends up running out of room for a goal kick. Of course, Bison, after Mount Union Saturday, here at home, back at it 3 days later on the road against Geneva. As for Allegheny, they have their second PAC match, their home opener against Westminster at 12 o'clock p.m. And then on the 28th, 4 days later, having their final non-conference match at 7 o'clock in Oberlin. Gianchetti launching it forward. Greaves running onto it along with Mellow Grain, who gets the last touch before it carries over the touchline. And now Jaziba James going to take as much space as he can on the near touchline. Able to find Cordice. Rosenberg deflecting it out of play. The Gators have a sub ready to go. We'll need it to be Allegheny possession for him to check in, as Napoleon steps in front of the throw from James. Gianchetti trying to find Cordice. Napoleon again getting some touches as Ingram intercepts the pass. But Ogaro back in possession. Cliff Weaver getting around Cafferata. Weaver's trying to serve it back post. Cafferata getting the touch. A strong challenge in there from Nacho Cafferata. Had knocked it away from Rosenberg, and now through ball forward from Napoleon. Ends up in the hands of Salahovic after Weaver tried to slot it on the ground. And the junior goalkeeper reads it brilliantly. Salahovic trying to find Gianchetti, but instead right to Rosenberg. Gators in on goal. Cliff Weaver, shot fired, deflected by Salahovic into the back of the net. 10.5 minutes into the second half. Allegheny strikes first. Cliff Weaver, his fourth goal this season for Allegheny, and a rather shocking turn of events for the Bison, as now the sub who was ready to come in will get the opportunity to do so. Ty Raymond checks out. I believe it is Kaminsky checking in. Yes, it is. So the Bison now having to pick up the tempo as Ioli sends it out for a throw. Long throw for James, trying to find Fontes Candida in the penalty area. Mellow Grain with the touch. Out for yet another Bison throw. Another long throw in from James. Anthony gathering this one in off of the flick of Fontes Candida. It was Ty Raymond who assisted the goal from Cliff Weaver. As for Raymond, that is his first assist of the season. And now Cliff Weaver in on goal again, trying to take it around Salahovic. Flagged for offside, but he puts it wide of the post regardless. The Bison catching another break. It's assist number 1 for Ty Raymond of the season. Goal number 4 for Cliff Weaver. And that has been the difference maker to this point. Salahovic finding Agaro. Fontes Candida finding Gianchetti. Switching the play to Lopez Agawa, ruled onside. Skylar Jackson on the far side. Lopez Agawa driving into the penalty area. Ingram winning possession. Lopez Agawa sliding challenge, and now Lopez Agawa and Ingram fighting it out. Ends up deflecting off of Ingram and out for corner kick number 7 despite Ingram's appeal. Gianchetti service towards the back post. Back out to Cordice. Greaves bringing it down, wanting to shoot, no angle to do so. And now Napoleon going shoulder to shoulder with Greaves. Napoleon's trapped down in his own defensive third. Able to lose possession, and now Greaves, guilty of a foul. So crisis averted for Allegheny as they look to quickly take the free kick. And now the Bison dealing with all sorts of pressure. Rosenberg losing it there, courtesy of Salvador Isler. Isler winning the free kick. And Cordice wanting to take it centrally, but being ushered out wide by Eric Blackburn. The Bison starting to feel the pressure escalate a bit in terms of getting the equalizer. And now Isler ruled for a foul against Ingram. A game that continues to show off its physical side. Napoleon launching it forward into the box. Salahovic going up to claim it. Ends up taking it to the grass. Mentioned earlier, these teams have not played each other, at least in PAC play, since 1984. Might have a rivalry brewing again and starting today. So Garo, brilliant switch of the field of play, finding Lopez Agawa service into the box. Headed away by Mellograin. Cordice able to find Ogaro. Deflection there off of Ingram, but right to Lopez Agawa regardless. Service towards the back post. Anthony getting a touch, appealing for a foul, and now Ogara going for the acrobatics. And ends up being flagged for the high kick. .5 minutes gone here in the second half. Bison searching for answers at this point. After a scoreless 45 minutes of play, now see themselves trailing, courtesy of Cliff Weaver and the pass he got from Ty Raymond. Gianchetti flicks it on to Nathan Greaves. The Bison not going to go down without a fight. Mellograin sending that one away from danger. Lopez Agawa sending in a cross. Rosenberg flicked on by Ingram. Kaminsky going shoulder to shoulder with James. Gianchetti back in possession. Bison continuing to try and create something. Service from Isler a little bit low. Mellograin getting a touch. Greaves trying to get around Lothert. The Gators look to avoid conceding the penalty, and now Greaves stripped of possession. Driving forward there was Lissman. Cordice ultimately gaining possession back. And Gianchetti winning a foul against Ingram. Bison take the free kick quickly. Lopez Ogawa service on the floor, cleared away by Mellow Grain. Gators have another sub set to check in. Believe it is Darius Googe. And now appeals from the Bison bench trying to win a free kick against Lopez Ogawa to no avail. And it is Darius Googe checking into the game for Henry Rosenberg. The Gators take the throw quickly, but Lopez Ogawa steps in front. Mellow Grain with the touch. And now Lopez Ogawa down and injured as Bruni clears it away from danger. Takes a favorable deflection as it ricocheted off the corner of the press box, saving that ball from not being able to be seen again. Lopez Ogawa on his feet. Remains to be seen whether he stays in the game. Just over 27 minutes left in the second half. The Bison looking to avoid a similar start to conference play in which they saw last season. Lopez Ogawa good to resume. The Gators get it restarted with the throw on the far side. Right away, Lopez Ogawa getting his hands dirty. Through ball from Cordice off the mark, brought down by Mellow Grain. Gooch trying to play it forward to Listman. Salahovic gathering it on the edge of the penalty area on the near side. And now Salahovic pushing the Bison forward, trying to get themselves as close to the attacking third as possible. Flicked on to Jaziba James, early service towards the back post. Touch on it there from Mellow Grain. Greaves working against Ioli. Now inside the penalty area is Greaves. Back out to Fontes Candida. Feeding it inside to Greaves, but he's flagged for offside. Just as Anthony smothers it to the grass. And now Anthony the opportunity to take a few more seconds as a result of the offside. More instructions coming from the Gators bench. The Bison winning the 50-50 ball. James and Googe contesting for it, and now Googe guilty of the foul against James. And what could have potentially gone against the Bison in the same regard it went against the Gators. Cafferata launching forward. Now Taliani winning the header. James finding Fontes Candida. Through ball forward from Greaves to Ogaro. Ogaro, hard challenge inside the penalty area. And Eric Blackburn pointing in that direction, but signaling a goal kick rather than a penalty kick. That draws some groans from the students here in support of the Bison. awfully close to giving the Bison a prime opportunity to equalize. Can only imagine the Gators bench breathing a sigh of relief when Blackburn pointed for a goal kick as opposed to the spot 6 yards further out. Throw from Aioli trying to find Kaminsky. Cafferata sending it far forward and out for yet another Gators throw. Under 24 minutes to play in the contest. And now, already at this point, the Gators trying to take off as much of the clock as they can, being ushered to restart play by Eric Blackburn. Missed pass there, trying to find Lothert, allows Fontes Candida to apply some pressure, but Allegheny recovers just enough. Weaver driving forward on the far side, Cordice stepping in front. Now Cordice, long ball forward, trying to find Greaves. Anthony quickly off his line. Gets there just a half a second in front of Greaves. Gabe Anthony using all of his frame, 6'5", there out of Highlands High School in Tarentum, to protect himself against Greaves, who has size of his own. Cafferata sliding challenge in there to knock it out for the Gators throw. And now both sides set to make substitutions. Cliff Weaver checking out for Allegheny. Darius Gooch will slide over to the left side. Fresh pair of forwards for the Bison, Puebla and Fode in place of Fontes Candida and Greaves. Rosenberg checking back in for the Gators. James trying to find Ogaro on the throw, but Rosenberg getting ahead to it. Now finding Ogaro on the second chance. Fode bringing it down. Puebla driving forward. Through ball into Savanas Fode. In on goal. Fode brought down, and immediately Skylar Jackson flagging for Eric Blackburn's attention. Gabe Anthony down inside the penalty area. Tyler Hyatt, the Bison athletic trainer, coming out to tend to Gabe Anthony, along with Coach Lachina, seeing what is going on with his goalkeeper. Of course, Coach Lachina in that scenario many times. Head coach of his alma mater now, graduate of 2014, as Anthony gets to his feet. It will, in fact, be a spot kick for the Bison, with Skylar Jackson standing on the end line. Anthony just going through the final checks with his coach to ensure he is good to remain in the game, and he is. Mentioned Coach Lachina playing for Allegheny, was a four-time All-NCAC goalkeeper, two-year captain, Allegheny's newcomer of the year in 2011. So we get set up now for Ogaro against Anthony. A chance for the Bison to equalize. 21 and a half minutes to go in the second half. Set up for Jazina Ogaro, given the responsibility of taking the penalty by the Bison bench. Blackburn ensuring Anthony was ready. The run up from Ogaro buries it. We're tied at 1. 21-25 to play in the second half. The Bison have life here in the PAC opener. And an opportunity for the green and white to still see themselves coming out on top. Sometimes that one goal is all it takes. As Allegheny gets set to make substitution, Zane Ingram checking out. Bertel back in for the Gators. For Jazino Ogaro, his second goal of the season. Now tied with Lucas Puebla for the team lead. And now two members of the green and white with more than one goal scored so far this season. Rosenberg finds Ioli. James able to intercept. A goal there from Ogaro, giving the Bison crowd some life. As Ogaro goes in on a strong challenge there against Taliani. Ogaro able to win the throw. Long throw into the penalty area from James. Flicked on towards the back post. Fode trying to get a touch. Falls to Isler. Fires toward goal. Save from Anthony. Rebound still loose. Puebla scrambling. And Lucas Puebla hits the back of the net. 2 goals in the span of a minute. This game has turned on its head. Bison 2, Gators 1. Here in the second half of the PAC opening round of play. The Gators do not know what have hit them, but it's a herd of Bison that have come storming back to take the lead. And this Bison crowd getting more into it by the second. And now a little bit of a stoppage as Eric Blackburn quickly goes over to the press box. Possibility of some members of the team not in uniform maybe stepped onto the field as part of the celebrations there from Puebla as he scored goal number 3 of the season. Eric Blackburn, our referee, talking with Coach Tall, Coach Cordon, pointing in the direction of the hillside. You have to imagine that's what the conversation is. And now Coach Tall has made his way onto the field. Appears to be apologizing to Gabe Anthony and the Gators back line. And now Eric Blackburn having a conversation with Skylar Jackson on the far side, trying to potentially sort this out. Allegheny making a sub. It'll be Darius Gooch checking out when getting the opportunity, which is now, as the issue has apparently been resolved enough for the satisfaction of Eric Blackburn. We're back underway. Here as the Gators send the kickoff long. It was Cliff Weaver checking back in for Darius Googe. Had a feeling that we weren't going to be seeing the last of Weaver, especially not now that the Gators have fallen behind. Puebla on the receiving end of a pass from Fode, trying to find Ogaro, but Ioli intercepting, finding the feet of Lissman. Weaver, brilliant turn there around Lopez Ogawa, and now Weaver fouled by Cordice. Cordice needing to be careful, already on a yellow card. The last thing Bethany needs is to go down to 10. That would potentially give Allegheny some extra life. It'll be Lissman who is set to send the free kick in. Outswing ball off of his left foot, falling right to the feet of Britell. Shot blocked there as Salahovic dove to his left. Second chance service on the ground, cleared away by Bruni. Back out to Taliani, who sends it long. James in possession in his own penalty area. Britell finding Napoleon, and Napoleon drawing the foul. Cordice again, the guilty party, and now Cordice standing over top of the ball. Cordice playing with fire at this point, as Eric Blackburn keeps the yellow card in his pocket once again. Service from Britell, whipped into the box, taking a deflection off of the Bison, out for a Gators corner. Britell taking for Allegheny, whipping it in swinger, deflecting off the post. It was Napoleon who rattled it off the frame. In complete disbelief, it didn't sneak in, as Napoleon had a header as clear as day. And yet another break for the Bison, who managed to stay in the lead. Cordice trying to play it forward to James, takes the deflection off of Ioli, out for a Bison throw. And now it's Bethany who has the luxury of being able to take their time as far as getting play restarted. O'Garo, shot fired towards the far post, tailing wide, out for a goal kick. Jazino O'Garo looking for his second of the game. Ultimately carried away from the far post. Anthony sends it long, and now Gianchetti guilty of a foul there against Napoleon. Dealt with a little too much pressure in the back, did Napoleon. Lopez Ogawa stepping in front of Weaver. Bison quickly looking to counter. Lopez Ogawa losing possession, but Fode keeping it inside the touchline. Isler sending it right back where it came from. Gabe Anthony off his line. Somehow, some way, keeping it inside the penalty area. Some shouts from the Bison bench saying that Anthony had carried over the line of the penalty area, but did in fact keep it between the lines. Isler bringing it down on the far side, working against Lissman. Shouts of a foul from the Bison bench, ignored by Blackburn as Napoleon sends it out for the Bethany throw. This game continues to be very physical. Lopez Ogawa flagged for a foul throw. Possibly lifted the back foot off the ground. And yet again, a rare call to be seen. And now Lucas Puebla called for a foul. And Eric Blackburn reaches for his back pocket. Second yellow for Lucas Puebla. With 14 and a half to play, the Bison are down to 10 men. Puebla can't believe it. The Bison coaching staff cannot believe it. A chaotic atmosphere here at Hogue in the opening round of PAC play. And now Coach Tall ending up getting a yellow of his own as a result of Lucas Puebla continuing to try and plead his case. Can only imagine Lucas Puebla was speaking in Spanish, and it wasn't pretty either. So now the Bison with a little bit more defensive work to do. Down a man courtesy of the second yellow there against Puebla. And now Eric Blackburn going back towards the Bison. Now talking to assistant referee Skylar Jackson. Now Jackson and Blackburn still discussing the situation. Puebla getting a round of applause from the Bison students. Now, Coach Tall engaging in the discussions with the referees. Coach Corridon providing instructions to the 9 remaining field players and the goalkeeper, Salahovic. Play not being restarted until Puebla leaves the field. Thought he would have been able to stay at least and get a close view to watch, but not the case as far as NCAA rules. And now Eric Blackburn has made his way back towards the middle of the field. Will finally allow play to resume for Britell to take the free kick. Whipped in from Britell, flicked on by Weaver. Bruni getting a touch on it. And now Ogaro playing it forward. And now Santi Bruni getting a yellow card of his own for an infringement behind the play. The infringement from Bruni inside the penalty area. So now Allegheny with a penalty kick of their own. Salahovic trying to plead his case with Eric Blackburn, wearing the captain's band. It'll be Kaminsky taking the penalty kick. Just a reminder, as far as the game clock goes, it was just 7 minutes of game time in which Jazino Ogaro took his penalty kick. As far as real time, that was probably about 15 minutes ago. Kaminsky against Salahovic. The Gators a chance to equalize after the early lead and then falling behind. Kaminsky looking for goal number 2. Salahovic looking to be the hero. Bison students making some noise, trying to disrupt. Kaminsky getting set to take the penalty. Blackburn giving the final instructions to Salahovic, and now Salahovic and Listman having a quick word. And now both sides being directed to talk to each other at opposite ends of the penalty area. I just want to be clear here. I have played soccer since I've been 7 years old and have never seen this before. Never has a referee stopped the game just before a penalty kick to have the captains calm both teams down 75 minutes and 47 seconds into the game. In a contest that has truly been an emotional roller coaster, now Cam Kaminsky set to take the penalty kick. Blackburn providing final instructions. Kaminsky with the run-up, and he sends Salahovic the other way. 14-13 to play. Tied once again, this time at 2 apiece, as Cam Kaminsky scores his second goal of the season in a game that continues to have twist after twist. And after 75 minutes and change, neither side has been able to secure victory to this point. We're right back where we started, except this time both teams with a pair of goals in the deadlock, as Isler sends it out of play on the near side. Throw in from Ioli, finding the goal scorer, the recent goal scorer, Kaminsky. Cliff Weaver, the other one for Allegheny. Cafferata launching it forward. Napoleon winning the header. Cordice trying to find Lopez Ogawa, playing it right to Napoleon. Weaver turning around Lopez Ogawa. Weaver slotting it towards the back post. Weaver drawing some contact, but we play on. Ogaro combining with Jaziba James. Ioli getting the touch, sending it out of play deep in the corner, about as far down in the corner as it could have gone before being a corner kick. And the Bison now needing to have the ball do much more of the work as a result of being a man down. Gianchetti working against Lothert in a game that continues, as it has all game, to be very physical. Bruni's clearance brought down by Napoleon. Through ball played forward. Cliff Weaver driving into the penalty area, slotting it back to Britell at the top of the box. Britell firing towards goal, wide of the post, out for a goal kick. And now Eric Blackburn again heading over towards the press box. Puebla trying to watch on the hillside. Eric Blackburn must have the eyes of a hawk to have seen Lucas Puebla sitting up there on top of the hill, his jersey inside out. And now Salahovic getting play restarted with the goal kick. Cordice launching it long to Ogaro. Trying to dance his way around Ioli. Slotting it back towards the top of the penalty area. Napoleon with the touch. And now Lothert driving forward to find Cliff Weaver. Finally reached the 12-minute mark remaining in the game. Weaver trying to slot it back inside. Isler Gianchetti getting touches on it. Ogaro now in possession. Can't get it around Napoleon. Gianchetti second chance finding Lopez Ogawa. Sylvanas Fode onside, flicking it back to Lopez Ogawa. And now Britell around Lopez Ogawa and Gianchetti. The Bison already down a man. The Gators with numbers forward. Weaver driving into the penalty area. Left-footed strike from Weaver, slotting towards the back post, just beyond the outstretched leg of Lissman. And out for a goal kick as the Gators make a substitution. Ioli giving way for Graham Kralik back in the game with 11 minutes to play. Salahovic being safe rather than sorry, sending the goal kick long. Now the Bison will try to gain some possession. Sylvanas Fode trying to track down through ball, deflecting off of Melagrain out for a Bison throw. Gianchetti back to Isler, cross in, calmly collected by Anthony, quick off his line. No attackers for the Bison close to the ball, so Anthony calmly able to claim that. Now reached single digits remaining on the clock in terms of the minutes. So we're under 10 to play. Anthony, plenty of space. Dribbling now outside of the penalty area before launching it forward. Lissman flicking it on to Cliff Weaver inside the penalty area, slotting it for Britell. His shot fired in the hands of Salahovic. Salahovic bring the ball with such force, doing a somersault in the process. Lopez Ogawa now just launching it forward, trying to find Fode. Losing a member of the 11 has thrown the Bison off course entirely. James able to find Ogaro. Brilliant back heel by Jazino Ogaro. James driving forward into the attacking third. Rosenberg with the late touch, trying to make his appeal. Out for a Bison throw. James with the throw in, trying to find Fode. Back to James. Service into the box. Britell getting the touch. Cleared away by Taliani. Bruni with the header right to Cliff Weaver. Playing it forward to the feet of Kaminsky. Bruni needing to be careful, already in the book. Kaminsky now getting around Bruni. The only way things could get worse for the Bison is by going down to 9. Or, of course, conceding goal number 3. And now Eric Blackburn stopping play yet again. Quick conversation with Skylar Jackson. And again, somehow, some way, seeing Lucas Puebla at the top of the hill. Play restarted courtesy of a Bison throw. Allegheny playing it out wide to Lothert. And now Isler, guilty of a foul there just beyond midfield. Now Isler needing to be careful, trying to stand too close to the ball. He cannot see himself go into the book. Weaver, service towards the back post. Salahovic claiming that one without any sort of pressure, now distributing brilliantly as Jacino Ogaro gets around Rosenberg, but then ends up being slowed up as a result of an injury. You could tell right away Ogaro was in some discomfort. James immediately motioning to the bench to get a sub ready. Now Tyler Hyatt out once again to tend to Ogaro. What has been a chaotic state of affairs. Goals for Allegheny courtesy of Cliff Weaver, Cam Kaminsky from the spot. As for the Bison, goals from Ogaro from the spot, and then Lucas Puebla as Ogaro up on his feet, being helped off by Tyler Hyatt. With a scoreless affair, rather a deadlocked affair, I should say, which both sides have 2 goals apiece. Deshaun Thomas subbing in for Ogaro. Saw Thomas in the first half for a handful of minutes. As Kaminsky flicks on the header from Kralik. Cordice in possession, dealing with some pressure, courtesy of Kaminsky. Isler trying to combine with Lopez Ogawa. Kaminsky laying it off for Weaver. Out on the far side. Weaver back post cross, claimed by Salahovic. And now Salahovic sending it as far forward as he can. Off the head of Melagrain, and now fell to Gianchetti. Cordice playing that one forward. Gianchetti carrying out wide. Gianchetti brought down, then back on his feet. And now Fausto Gianchetti wins the free kick. The Gators in complete disbelief. Was Napoleon the guilty party? 6 minutes to play. An opportunity for the Bison to get yet another lead. This game with the line of 3rd time's the charm as far as scoring goes. James back out to Gianchetti. Trying to get around Lothert. Left-footed service from Gianchetti. Falls to Jay-Z, but James cleared away. Cordice drawing contact, no foul, says Blackburn. And now Rosenberg quickly countering. Cafferata trying to get back. Cafferata drawing contact there with Rosenberg. And again, we continue to play on. Weaver now in possession. Finding Britell, trying to dance his way around Cafferata. Scramble for it still, and now Cafferata drawing the foul. I think at this point both sides would be more than happy once the final 4 minutes and 46 seconds tick off the clock, regardless of how this one ends. Kralik's throw intercepted by Cordice. And a strong challenge in there from Kralik on Fode. And now Kralik goes into the book. Gianchetti trying to take the free kick quickly, but as a result of the yellow card, play having to be stopped and slowing the game down. And now Salahovic wanting to take the free kick. Did not get the whistle, and Salahovic showing his frustration. Of course, Salahovic can get away with a little bit more in terms of verbal altercations, and now Nathan Greaves shown a yellow card on the Bison bench for what he's saying. Salahovic able to get away with a little bit more as a result of being the captain. And Salahovic trying to take it again, and apparently too early. Salahovic had one conversation with Matt Scott on the near side and is now having a second conversation before the free kick can finally be taken. Now, still a rather long delay as the Bison and the Gators rather physical in terms of setting up the free kick. Whistle finally blown as Salahovic sends it into the box. Mellow Grain with the head on it. Gianchetti drawing some contact. Shouts from the Bison students. Ends up going out for a Bethany throw. Thomas taking the throw quickly. Now back in possession. Serving it in. In-swinger Fode on the back end. Got a touch. Cafarata second chance header towards the back post. And it's over the crossbar and out for a goal kick as both Jaziba James and Gabe Anthony dealt with some contact there in the scramble. Allegheny is making another sub. Aioli back in for Kranick as the clock continues to tick down. Heading towards the 3.5 minute mark remaining in the game. Cordice getting ahead to the goal kick. Deshaun Thomas keeping it in play. Fode gaining possession against Aioli, fresh off the bench. Now Fode trying to dance around Aioli, sent away by Britell. Out for a Bison throw. Approaching the 3 minute mark to go, 87 minutes gone. Everybody here in attendance urging the Bison forward. Many members of the women's soccer team in attendance. They'll be here tomorrow taking on Allegheny as well. Thomas trying to keep it in play on the near side, does so successfully. Service in from Thomas. Fode getting ahead on it, running towards the near post, but it's just wide and out for a goal kick. Anthony now a little bit of urgency as far as sending the goal kick forward. Down to 2:15 on the clock. Lopez Ogawa launching it forward. Back in possession. And Lopez Ogawa flagged for a handball. And now, second whistle, Salvador Isler going in the books for potentially delaying a restart. Isler was trying to plead his case that he just lost his footing, but Eric Blackburn not buying it. Ioli will take the free kick as the Bison look to defend everything they have here. Service in from Ioli towards the back post. Cordice getting ahead to it. Fode on the receiving end as the Bison quickly look to counter. His pass intercepted there by Rosenberg. Strong tie-up in the midfield there. Cordice gaining possession again. Driving forward is Cordice, playing it forward. Deshaun Thomas well onside. Plenty of space for Thomas to drive forward. Thomas still in possession on the near side. Serving it in towards the top of the penalty area, drawing some contact. Thomas back in possession after deflecting off of Cordice. Thomas peeling for handball, getting the free kick as Allegheny was the guilty party. Under 90 seconds to play. What could potentially be the last dangerous chance for the Bison. Coach Tall ordering instructions to Rakiba Cordice, trying to provide instructions about the service as the clock continues to wind down. Now under a minute, the Bison bench pleading for Eric Blackburn to stop the clock. And now Cordice having a word with Blackburn as the clock continues to wind. And now Blackburn moving the wall back, assuming that time does not get added on as Skylar Jackson flags for Eric Blackburn. And now Eric Blackburn has to go over and talk to Skylar Jackson to try and get an idea of how much time was left. After the conversation, rather brief, Blackburn heads back towards the field of play. There's no way he is not putting more time back on the clock. He has to be putting more time back on the clock. And he is not putting time back on the clock, so the whistle is blown for Cordice, who fires toward goal. It's off the crossbar and out for a goal kick. And since time was not put back on the clock, that will pretty much do the trick as Isler wins the header. Kaminsky sending it back in. Scramble for it. Britell trying to slot it forward. Out of the reach of Kaminsky. Salahovic just going to see out the final seconds. And after a second half filled with dramatics, more yellow cards than we can count, the points are shared after 90 minutes. Allegheny 2, Bethany 2. Your final score in what was a rather eventless first 45 minutes, turning into a rather eventful second 45. As we get set to wrap this one up, or try to wrap it up at least, here on the PAC Digital Network, as it was Allegheny who got on the board first. Cliff Weaver finding the back of the net courtesy of a ball slotted across the box from Ty Raymond. A few minutes later, Bethany equalizing courtesy of a penalty kick off the foot of Jazino Ogaro. Less than a minute later, Lucas Puebla hit the back of the net, his third goal of the season. Gave the Bison a 2-1 lead. 7 minutes later, Allegheny getting a penalty kick of their own, which Cam Kaminsky buried in the back of the net. And then the final 14 minutes and change were filled with rather physical play, along with several more cards to be issued. So the opening round of PAC play sees neither side come out on top. The Bison back in action here at home Saturday against Mount Union. Allegheny having their PAC home opener against Westminster. The Bison kickoff at 3 o'clock. The Gators kick off at noon. That'll do it for us here on the PAC Digital Network. Once again, your final score, Bethany 2, Allegheny 2. Drew Von Sios signing off.